Hey y'all, my name is Tamara Andress. I am your Fit and Faith podcast host, and I am pumped to be here. Just me, no words, no scripts, no intros, no outros. I love authenticity. I hope to breed vulnerability, and I usually do this alongside another dreamer, mover, shaker, entrepreneur, passionista is what I love to call them. If you're a dude, then a dude. But I am loving just coming together in community with other people to share their high and low stories, to share their journeys to comeback, because I believe ultimately that's where God would have us. He would have us on the mountaintop. And even though we learn a ton in the pit and in the valley, God would want us right now, especially in this season of life, in this time of our culture, to shine. And so here I am. I want to teach you how to shine. I want to be alongside you when you get your glow. I want to catapult you into your calling, whatever that is. So this isn't a fitness podcast. This is not a religious banter, though we preach Jesus all day long. And this is not just about nutrition or health or wealth, though I like some green, and I know you do too. It's not okay for us to not be okay with talking about all of these things in unison. You guys, we don't just need a mental health podcast. We don't just need a fitness podcast. We don't just need a religious, spiritual podcast. It needs to blend. This is what Fit and Faith is all about. It's all about creating alignment, connectivity. It's about pursuing your wholeness and claiming it over your life and over the lives of the loved ones that you have around you in your community. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to get to know you more. You can like, review, subscribe, whatever it is. Send me an email, DM me. It's me. I have an amazing team alongside me, but you guys are getting me for now. So enjoy. I'm so pumped to have a coffee conversation with you, is what I love to call them. Don't have my coffee right now, but I have it in my system, as you can see. All the love. Let's do this together and keep going for your dreams, y'all.
Collaborate even with local businesses or just local moms or local, just the community. I just wanted to be community based and gather and maybe have events that we can meet each other and really talk about these things.
That's awesome.
A lot of the posts that I do on my page are about my artwork, but the captions are a lot about home and what home means to me and what home means to everyone else. So just to come together and talk about that and come together even on our similarities and differences and what we're going through is what I was hoping for.
That's amazing. So tell me, if you were to describe your home, and I've seen many of your posts, so I do kind of get a vibe for that. What does home mean to you, and maybe what it meant to you circa 10 years ago versus what it means now? How has it evolved?
Well, I always kind of felt guilty for having a great home and a great childhood, and not everyone is as fortunate to have a great home. So I do donate a lot to Stand Up for Kids and all of that, as well as the homeless teens in the area. That is so much in alignment with my heart. So I was fortunate to have a great home, and I have such great memories. And just the looking back and feeling the warmth, just those memories that you have. And lucky enough, my parents still have the home that I grew up in, and it's 5 minutes down the road from where I live.
Awesome.
So I can just go in there and still have flashbacks. But just those feelings of just the yard, everything like surrounding it, the street, your neighbors, inside of the walls of your home, laughter, just family support, tears, just everything. When you have that loving home and support, I not only want to represent that and also stress how important that is, and that home is so important. We need to pour into our homes and really put our heart into there. It needs to be a space of comfort and support, but also to support those who not really had that.
That's good.
So I just want to look at both sides of it and try to do the best I can.
That's amazing. So what, you're married?
Yes.
Have 2 kids?
Just one.
1 kid. Okay, I saw because she had not only done the homes, but she was doing back to school pictures. You were doing back to school pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this our babies? So 1 kiddo. How old?
1 son. He's 5.
Okay, that's okay. Mine's right between. So we've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, but boys are lots of energy, lots of fun.
They are fun.
Did he start kindergarten?
He did.
How was that for you?
It's I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
I was worried he is a clinger. He's
Okay.
a mama's boy.
Yep.
So I was worried that he was just going to break my heart and not want to get on the bus or just cling to me.
Yeah.
But he was super excited, so that helped a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
just keeping myself super busy so I don't think about it as much.
Sure. Well, good timing to have the Home and Heart Center
Yes.
space and the Beach Barefoot Bungalow to like kind of launch off of. As he goes in full time, you get to go in full
I
time.
feel like it was just, I was feeling the need of extra support.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
all of these ideas started coming, and it's probably what it stemmed from,
Yeah,
honestly. I was
yeah.
getting nervous.
Absolutely.
The closer first day was coming.
We'd love to hear any of the other mothers who are out there who just sent their babies off for the first time. Maybe it was even preschool. Maybe you're in the next bracket and you're jumping up to middle school. You'll have to ping us and let us know how you're handling it now, especially because you got your feet wet and then Dorian happened. So then you had a long weekend. So it was almost like starting all over again for so many people on Monday. So I am most interested in, you had said that you felt guilty about having like this healthy home. Where did that guilt stem from?
At the root of it, I'm not quite sure. I've always felt just so much empathy for anyone that's having a harder time or, not exactly as fortunate as I was growing up or even now. And so it's a struggle that I've been dealing with just to balance and not get so down on myself because it's not in my control, but just twist it in a way where I focus my work and serving others to that cause.
And along serving, I feel like it's a depraved area for so many people coming from broken homes, now trying to establish their own home as the antithesis for what they grew up as, and yet they have no example for how that's supposed to look. Or they came from a healthy home and they've now stepped into something that's unhealthy and they don't know how or why to, like, how do I go back? And yet they're already in this space. So I feel like you could be even a voice for creating that healthy home, knowing that you've had it for so long and it's not just stemmed from what you've experienced in your creating your own home, but the home that your parents cultivated for you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited to see where it can go because there's so much potential in where it can grow into and how it can help others.
Yeah.
So I'm just starting out, but I'm excited.
Yeah, it's really good. That's the best part to be, is you want to be, when you're starting, you better be excited
Yes.
because there's a lot to come. And if you're not, if you're not fully bought into your own passion and fully understand the whys or the hows that you get there, it's so easy to turn off track.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, this is my own problem. For a long time, I was like jumping on all the MLM bandwagons and oh yeah, I could do that. Oh yeah, I could do that. And I had the entrepreneurial spirit, but I was never bought into what they were doing.
Right. It's not coming from your own heart.
Right. And so cultivating that and trying to figure out, okay, and I know that they're super amazing for certain people and they are bought in from a different angle than what I ever was. I use Young Living. I do essential oils. I have Monette, the hair product. I do, I have all the things, but I was never fully bought in for my own investment, for my own home. And so I wanted to know, okay, Tamara, you have all these entrepreneurial thoughts and ideas and passions. What can you do that then serves? Versus taking something that's already been done, because not to say that you have to reinvent the wheel or start from scratch. But I just was in that space where I knew that there had to be something more from within for me to stick with it.
And it's kind of difficult too, because when you find yourself as a multi-passionate creative, it's kind of like you can be all over the place. And to learn how to figure out what is really for you.
Yeah.
That's something that I've been struggling with too. So it's kind of, I have all of these overflow of ideas.
Yeah.
And, I want to do this. And you get super excited about all these different things. But just to kind of slow down and really meditate on it and pray on it and make sure that this is exactly what my soul is calling me to do. This is what is in alignment right now.
That's so good. And I think also knowing, and this is a part of my journey and that experience of guilt, is like that mom guilt space that so many people experience, is that we're moms. we're wives, we're employees at other places, and yet we have these passion projects that we want to cultivate. And I would feel guilty leaving my kids when it was bedtime in order to go pursue that, and be like, oh gosh, like I want to create this healthy home, and yet is my stepping away breaking what I had already built? And so kind of going back and forth, my husband declared me this weekend, and my daughter too, poor thing, that we have serious case of FOMO, that I always want to experience what they're about to experience with them on the first time because they're little. So my son was going to learn to wakeboard this weekend.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, well, I want to be on the boat, but it was a situation where I might not be on the boat. And I'm like, well, I want to take pictures. I want to see his first expression. I want to know if it happens. What if it happens and then I miss it? And he's like, well, it's going to be your first time, the first time you experience it. The same emotions are going to be created. I'm like, no, I don't agree. I think I need to be there. So he always like, Tamara, you live in this space, but I feel like when you're living in that space of FOMO and that mom guilt, you're not giving your full presence to the space that you're supposed to be in that moment, the space that the passion that's being cultivated within you, the place that your soul is being called to. And so you hear about being present. And if you can it's not about compartmentalizing all of the people that we are because we wear multiple hats, but it's knowing that this is my time to be with you, right? And my kids are safe and taken care of and in the places where they need to be. And I trust that their home, their center, their alignment within themselves is being taken care of. I wouldn't just like, okay, dip out, I'm out, I'll see you later. But I think that it's really important for us to let go of that guilt and know that this is a place that we're also being called to, and that this is a passion. This is something that you've prayed over, that you're stepping into when all these people come knocking and say, come on my podcast, guest spot on my blog, come do this video with me, come on my live. It isn't like you've been working, of course, towards it, but you aren't necessarily asking for it.
Right, and it can come off overwhelming, or anxiety can set in. Is when you're trying to manifest certain things and then they happen really fast, and it's like, then you go back in your shell a little bit. At least I do. I do that sometimes, but I feel it's a struggle a lot of women deal with. And even when it goes back to the saying, like, what is your why? And a lot of women, I hear, my children are my why. And absolutely, they are part of your why. But I want to hear the other part of your why too. And
so good.
I hear that a whole lot, and that's the first thought in my head is, yes, we love our kids.
Yeah, of course.
But I hope you're living for yourself as well, and at least trying to find your soul purpose at the same time. It's so important.
It's so true, and it's something I often see, being in the space of like creating retreats for women and having a place where they're, fully immersing themselves, just them, without the kids, and hearing people's responses of why they can't be there. And obviously kids, I get it. Like your schedule, you've got to get them here and there and all of the things when daddy's deployed or daddy's at work or daddy's at home, whatever that picture looks like of your home. But I've then seen fast forward 20 years where there's the women in their 50s and 60s who are just now for the first time coming into who they are because who they were was so wrapped up in their child.
Just mom,
Yeah, and it's not a place I want to be. I want my kids to know that I know who I am right now, so that gives them the freedom to experience who they are right now.
Absolutely. Just showing your children that there is a balance.
Yeah.
It's important.
Absolutely.
Too. It's really going to make a difference for them and for them to see that perspective as well as they grow.
Absolutely. So healthy homes, right? So tell me about, what do you do from like a nutrition and fitness perspective for your own body to create that balance? Because that is such an important space of it. And I haven't seen you talk much about it because that's not really like your genre.
No.
So tell me, where are you in that journey of your own life?
I have made some huge shifts in my diet, lifestyle. I don't eat meat anymore.
Okay.
And
cool.
I just started that in April.
Okay. How's that been going? My husband wants to do this, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it.
It's been back and forth for about 5 years now, but it's been a struggle when you're married to someone who just loves loves meat. Like a lot of men are just huge meat eaters, right?
Yeah.
And I've always been weird about even touching or preparing meat. For a while, I would just do crock pot meals where I didn't have to touch it. I'll just not look and just dump it in there. That's what was working for me for a while. But then I still couldn't enjoy as much when it was done just for me to eat it. I'll take a few bites and then I wouldn't have an appetite for it.
How interesting,
Yeah, so that was just my feeling on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, enough's enough. I need to just do this for me. Everybody's journey is different. And even if you're married to someone or if your kid just likes chicken nuggets and pizza. My kid, he likes chicken nuggets and pizza, but he also likes broccoli and fruit and green beans and all that too. So it's a balance. But I just had to do it for myself.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah, my husband's probably the opposite. So I'm like, I want meat. I feel like I need meat to be protein. And it's not because I really like meat versus really liking alternatives. I've had a friend who makes me this incredible Cajun chickpea meal. It's amazing. It's so good. And it tastes like meat because there's that Cajun component. The flavoring is really what it is. She's made me tofu stuff. Sabrina, I'm shouting you out. She owns a company called Fuel Meal Prep. So she'll meal prep for people. She's also a personal trainer. Yeah, Sabrina's awesome. She's actually cooking at the retreat coming up. So she'll be there as a personal chef and a personal trainer. But she has taught me that okay, I can change my mindset. It's from being little, they have the pyramid of okay, you're supposed to have this in your meal, this in your meal, this in your meal, and this is a well-balanced meal. Come to find out, because this is my husband's super passion project, I just am the right wing coming from it, is that he was like, that was cultivated by man. That was never a plan. That's not what why you need to eat. Even breakfast, lunch, and dinner were designed by man.
Absolutely.
Do you think that when people hunted and gathered that they had the privilege of eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
No. I was just having that conversation with my husband actually the other day.
So they have to wake up really early before the sun even rises just to go get the food that then there's going to have to be prepped and created later. And then the wives are probably out harvesting and everything at the farm. But
so I said it's overrated for us to just have to eat these many times during the day. Even though I know for our metabolism you have to. But I did bring up in the past that how did you think they did that? Because it was a lot harder work. I'm sure they didn't eat that many times throughout the day.
There's no time.
Work their their whole life was preparing for survival and their food.
Yes. So
and they stretched it out.
Yeah, they'd have to. They would, and I remember my grandparents talking about, and even my parents about how they would eat Spam, or they didn't have all of these options, and you didn't go to the grocery store and search for hours for looking for something new and finding and discovering new stuff. It was just, this is what you had.
Yeah, we're a little spoiled with convenience and variety.
Yes, very, very much so. So thank you for answering that. Do you have any preference on, do you like to do yoga or anything as far as your personal movement? I'm going to challenge you a little bit if you say no. And it's okay if you do. This is a personal struggle right now. Okay.
Right now that I'm working on.
Okay.
I bought a trampoline for my home.
Cool.
So I've been, what do they call it? Tramping?
Yeah.
I think something
tramping
like that.
Probably wouldn't be the right word.
Oh no.
I'm like, hold on, that's not.
There's some word out there floating around.
Maybe
that
just
people
jumping.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, you're right. That doesn't sound right.
That's awesome. It might have to be the title of this episode.
Might work.
Okay, so you've been jumping.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's really fun. Do they have YouTube videos or anything?
They do have YouTube
exercise
videos you can follow along.
That's
and
really
so I just
cool.
pull it up on my big screen in my living room and I'm just bouncing.
That's awesome. How do you feel?
I don't have that much stamina for it right now.
Okay,
I don't last that long.
Sure.
So because it's really
You're like, whoa!
It's hard on legs.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Get you some toning in there. That's awesome. I mean, especially if taking the jump to do that in your nutrition and that diet component, that's a really strict thing to have to do. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of willpower to say no to this, right? So if you can engage that in that other component, you're going to feel amazing come next April when you say it's a year.
I have a love-hate relationship with exercise. Definitely.
Is it just the sweat, or?
I find that if I dedicate, I'm going to start going to the gym, or I set way too high of goals for myself. So I'm trying to shift my mindset on it,
Yeah.
where this is just healthy for me. This is just detox for my body. I don't have crazy goals of changing my body or doing all of that. So
that's
I'm
awesome.
trying to work on that mindset, because in the past it was just always I would be way
really
too hard
strict.
on myself.
Sure.
I do like hot yoga though.
Yeah, hot yoga is awesome.
That's how I lost all of my baby weight after I gave birth to my son.
Nice.
Yes, I gained a lot of weight.
Did you?
I was like, I gotta get this off. I
Right.
knew I had to do something very.
Was that the first time that you like
Did
really
hot yoga?
exercised, or just in general?
Or yeah, pretty much, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome. I have a lot of friends who I remember when I started getting my personal training license in my young 20s, my target market was like 40-year-olds, and not intentional. That's just, again, what came to me. And because all of my friends, for the most part, like they didn't struggle in that area. They're small. They're like the same size. Maybe they gained that freshman 15 in college, but they were still out drinking and hanging out, and no one was married with kids at this point. So that wasn't their emphasis at all. And then I always knew, my mom would always say specifically, like, when they have kids, wait till they have kids. And we were in the maternity realm at that point. And so I knew, like, this is going to change. And now to see my friends in this now 30-year-old phase where most of them have had kids, some haven't yet, but that is absolutely the next engaging thing, because you're like, hold on a second. I'm out of my comfort zone. This isn't what I've ever been used to. How do I get back to what I'm comfortable with? And it's not the same, because you've just had the miraculous gift of birthing a child.
It's something to get used to, and you got to find your whatever's right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you discover painting as a passion? Because my sister is an artist as well, and I just think it's amazing. And I like to paint big things. Like, I could do big words and lettering from when I was on the marketing committee in high school, but little stuff other than, I did paint belly casts. Did you know that about me?
No.
This
That's cool.
It was so cool. So I painted belly casts for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And alongside the Mom and Me boutique. Mom, you're amazing. Love you. She's taken that over. It last 3 years ago. But yeah, so we would cast women fully pregnant, and then whatever their nursery theme was, whatever they were passionate about, we would put onto these canvas bellies that we had just created.
That's beautiful.
I feel like your watercolor would look better than my art, though.
Oh, I have to see what you did.
Yeah, I will show you.
It was beautiful.
I'll totally show you. So how watercolor? Because I think it's so stunning. And it's so good. You're so intricate at it.
I started out with mainly acrylic.
Okay.
My parents are not artistic,
Okay.
but my mom had one of my mom's first cousins that she grew up with, was her best friend, ended up being like my second mom.
Oh, I love that.
She was the one who instilled art in me and my sister. So my sister and I are both artists, painters, and graphic designers.
Neat. That's awesome.
So I think it just came a lot from her. We would follow her a lot to her studio and just watch her all the time. It started at a really young age, as far as I can remember.
That's amazing.
So I've always enjoyed it. As far as watercolor, I think I just jumped on the bandwagon, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah,
when watercolor started becoming popular, especially in the wedding industry.
Yeah.
And I was just really drawn to it, and I started practicing it that way.
That's really cool. Now, have you seen the Bible journaling where they do it in the watercolor? Like, there's people that's their whole podcast, their whole Instagram is around them. Like, this is so cool.
Yes, people
hand
do a really
lettering
good job with that too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I admire people who can do the hand lettering.
Yeah. Is that well? Do you not do the hand lettering on yours?
No, those are fonts.
Oh, they look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they're
do what
so
I can.
pretty.
Yeah,
I'm gonna show.
I know my
share.
strengths.
Yeah. Hey, I get that completely. I have a girlfriend who's my graphic designer, and I'm like, all things, here's the idea, you come up with it. So it's definitely a fun space to be in, because you get to really think outside of the box. You have to think outside of the box.
And it feels good to be in flow state.
Yes. Ooh, did you ever listen to the Flow State podcast?
I did not.
Oh, there's a flow specialist also coming to the retreat, and we did an entire podcast on what it means to be in the mental state of flow and how it correlates to your body flow and everything else that we do.
It's amazing. It's very interesting too on how it works.
So is. So if you haven't looked it up, I don't remember what it's Jeannie Landis is the flow specialist of our area. She's incredible. I keep telling her needs to do a workshop at the Annex.
I would definitely
go. So that's another thing is we're talking about the Annex, and I can foresee you putting on workshops, whether it's either learning the fundamentals of watercolor, but really I'm thinking of the Home and Heart Center space.
It's coming
up. You said, okay.
Yeah, I've been brainstorming on some things.
I love it. I love all things new, business blossom. Like that's all where my heart is. It does.
All
it's
the
so
feels.
So we have a girlfriend who is launching her website today for her passion project.
That's exciting.
Yes, from prodigal to princess. Check her out. And do you have like a full-on website yet for Home and Heart Center? Is it also maybe in the forecast?
I keep going back and forth on whether I need a website.
Right.
Even just for the Barefoot Bungalow.
Yeah.
I have like a small e-commerce landing page. I do have an Etsy shop.
Okay.
But other than that, I have like a small landing page too. Yeah. Just showcases my products, and you can shop through there as well. But maybe.
Yeah, so a lot of your stuff's just all freelance, just through your real estate people knowing you. Mm-hmm. That's so awesome. So majority all Virginia Beach or Hampton Roads?
Yep, I can do hand delivery in Hampton Roads. And they come with cute little bags, so you can, with black ribbons, and I make them look nice and pretty for you to just, all you have to do is hand it right off to your clients, your buyers, or your sellers.
Awesome.
And I can ship.
Yeah,
nationwide too.
Okay, awesome.
I have a lot of clients in Texas and Louisiana.
Oh, interesting.
Not sure why.
No family there that creates the roots. All right, there you go. That's awesome. It must be something with Google Ads or them like grabbing your keywords. Yes, just go with it. Just let the doors open. So, question going towards your faith. So we talked about fitness, and I want to hear. And you've mentioned God briefly and the meditative and the prayer. What does that look like as a part of your home?
Definitely am more spiritual.
Yep.
I actually have my personal Instagram page that I turned into my spiritual journey page. I've been going through a spiritual awakening for the past 3 years.
Wow, okay.
So I've been really opening up about that.
Yeah.
And
what's that page called?
Just Patrice Jockson.
Okay.
Yeah, my name.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about that experience, because I feel like there are so many different layers to it, and even just some of the keywords that you're sharing, they are a part of my testimony. Okay. So has it been like a therapy journey? Have you been in therapy for it? Has it just been a personal like diving in?
It's been very personal.
Yeah.
Just started out with a lot of questions, feeling lost a bit.
Yeah.
I grew up non-denominational Christian. I grew up in the church, and I still had lots of questions, and always been very strong in my faith.
Sure.
But just as I got older, just thinking for myself a little bit more.
Yeah, sure.
And so I had questions, and then I hit postpartum depression. Mm-hmm. And that really just, I had to dig myself out of there.
Yeah, it's hard.
And that's how but when you're sitting in stillness and listening and going within.
Wow.
And you don't know the next steps or what's coming next. That's where you find the answers.
So if you were to give insight to somebody like currently going through that, they're in that place and they're crying out, Reese, how do I, what do I, where do I? Mm-hmm. How do you navigate someone towards that? Have you helped anybody else?
I hope that I am helping people through like I mentioned, my Instagram page. Yeah. Some people are a little standoffish about it, a little bit, with the background, and if they're super religious, just different perspective. Not a lot of others are as open to looking at things a little differently.
Sure.
So personally speaking to others, I haven't been comfortable open up about it just yet, like one-on-one.
Yeah,
because you never know how people are going to react.
Yeah, of course.
But on my page, I have a lot of positive messages.
That's amazing.
Everybody is in my DMs just telling me, thank you.
So good.
So I feel like I am making a difference. And every time I do a lot of videos on there on different topics, all geared towards helping, inspiring, and encouraging other spiritual awakening noobs is like what I like to call it. So just to make them feel more comfortable, they're not alone, and make sure they don't feel like they're going crazy, because they're not going crazy.
Yes, that is a huge thing. And I don't know, I always call it my quarter life crisis, and it's probably not funny when I wasn't funny when I was actually experiencing it. I'm sure you can resonate and know that it is not a funny experience to go through.
Yes.
And I experienced components of postpartum with my son, and then again with my daughter and son, but it was after like, she was almost a year old, and I was still in this like fog of identity crisis and like, what am I doing? Who am I? Where am I going? And it was way deeper, and I had to understand what those roots were before I could ever move forward. But it did take for me personal therapy, as well as that personal experience of just like reading, listening, being. That's when I let go of Modern Maternity and Maternity Boutique, because I was pursuing something that I didn't even know why or where I was going. Right. In addition to like comprehending motherhood, comprehending being a wife, even though I had been a wife for that many years. I'm like, hold on a second, like this isn't what I imagined it would be. Yep. How do I navigate this moving forward? So to allow people that space and grace to say it's okay to navigate it. And it's also really important to confront it. Because otherwise you're standing stagnant in this sense of brokenness or this sense of quote unquote crazy.
You definitely have to push through it.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it. It's a difficult journey, but it is worth it.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
I feel like a totally different person now, and I experience so much immense bliss and joy that I've never experienced before. And I've always been a happy-ish person. I never struggled with depression or anything like that before. So to come on the other side and like know the difference between where I thought I was happy and now feeling what true happiness feels like.
So good.
It's amazing.
So good. That's really beautiful. So you had a kid at that point, obviously, as you were walking through that. If it's been for, how long did you say? About 3 years?
Yes.
That you've been doing it. How has your spouse like come alongside you during that time?
So he is not very vocal.
Okay.
I like to talk a lot about how I'm feeling and communicating.
Sure. Typical woman versus man.
Yes. Yeah. And he listens. He's a very good listener, and he's starting to open up, and he is on the same page. So he's
that's awesome.
Getting where I'm coming from. Yes.
Yeah. It's different because like they internalize so much. It's not that they're not listening. It's not that they're not responding. They're just responding in how they know how to respond. So I've found that in order to like meet my husband in those needs, it's been my ability to listen. And sometimes that listening is me being really quiet and giving him the space after I answer a question. One, not to answer his question for him, or two, well, let me tell you what I'm thinking. You know, like I'm like weird when there's this void of silence.
They have to process it a little bit more.
Yeah. So like giving them that space, and then just, all right, well, we'll talk about it later. I'd love to know what you're thinking. Or I'd love to know what comes about maybe after you simmer on it for a couple of days and circling back to those conversations.
We're actually going through a 33-day journey together.
Cool.
And every night we put aside, 15, 30 minutes. That's been amazing. His feedback has been awesome as well. He's opening up more.
That's really cool. Is it along like a book? Or is it just an activity that you found?
Yes, I watch a lot of Gaia. TV.
Gaia, okay, yep. Yeah.
So it was someone up there that was on a show.
Okay.
I don't remember what show he was on. But he was promoting his 33-day journey.
So cool.
Basically, they just send you emails every day, and within the email, it has
like
some
your prompt
material that you can read and practice.
I did one a few years ago, and it was a 30-day practice. And the front of the book looks like what to expect when you're expecting. It's super cheesy and horrible, but it was called, I want to say it was Project 33, but that was a clothing thing that I did. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Where you like minimize your closet to 30 items and you do it for 3 months. And you can only wear those 30 items. I think I'm already
there, though.
Are you?
I'm weird. Like, I don't like shopping.
Okay. I would not guess that about you. You're so stylish.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have like 5 stylish outfits.
Well, I'll make sure each time to compliment your 5 outfits.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So anyway, it was like this. It was a 30-day project, but it was supposed to be in secret from your spouse, and you were supposed to give them, like, do something for them.
Oh, that's nice.
Every day, and you're not supposed to comment I did this for you. And there's supposed to be no real end goal other than to see the transformation of your own heart and the transformation of their heart. And I tried to get a couple of girls to do it with me, but I think I ended up doing it solo. But this book is pink. And so my daughter, of course, being a little girl, like she navigated towards this book since she was walkable and could reach the shelf. And she would pull this book out. And he knew after the fact that I had done it, because it's one of those things that by the end, when you've changed something so immensely, they're going to notice. You're in such close quarters. They're like, oh, thanks so much. There was a lot of like gratitude coming from it. And my desire to like want to do those things more often became almost like a need versus like I want to do it, but I never do it. It was, I need to do something today. So she would just pull this book off the shelf, and it would be, I mean, we were going through highs and lows, experiencing, that spiritual awakening concept, that identity evolution. He had to come alongside as I was figuring out who I was, and that is not an easy job for anybody to do. Even in friendship, I've had a lot of friends lost because they don't get it, and they're like, who are you, why are you, and I didn't feel like I was different. I knew I had a lot of differences, but I wasn't a different person at my heart center. I just came into my joy. I came into this conversation of like, this is who I am, and I'm not going to be apologetic for it one way or another, because I felt like I lived a lot of my life around shame already. I didn't want to step out of that shame and step into shame of being somebody that I knew I was supposed to be. So anyway, she would bring this book around the house, and I would just see it laying around, and obviously, naturally, as a mom, go to put it away. But every single time, it was like this subtle reminder saying, don't forget. Don't forget.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget. And so the book's now put in a different shelf because we've moved since then. But my daughter, like, I'll always remember her carrying around that little pink book because she couldn't even read. She couldn't even speak.
That's beautiful, though. Yes.
Yeah, like such a sign from the heavens of just like
transformation.
A little note here and there. So it's interesting to see how our kids then exude those spiritual awakening pieces of identity into their lives because you're giving them freedom to do so. So it'd be cool as your son like continues to grow. What's his name?
Christian,
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see how that continues to evolve.
Yes, we meditate a lot.
Yeah.
And I do meditation with him and teach him breathing techniques.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
That's really cool. Is he calm-natured like you?
No.
Okay. So it's more of a need than... Typical boy. That sounds like my son. So you have to look up this guy named William Hoff. Okay. So he actually was like the longest standing free diver beneath glaciers. He had to practice this like element of breathing in order to be able to do that. Obviously. But he could like he was trying to teach his body to go into a state of hypothermia. So that he was prepared for the true state of hypothermia and how to work his way back out of it. And so he can raise his temperature and decrease his temperature all by breath work. And so he has this, I mean, he's incredibly brilliant, and he's had neuroscientists around him studying all the things that he's learned, but that it can teach us like how to get healthy just off of breath. Like if you're ailing and sick for some reason, some sort of disease, even through the cancer component, that breath work can actually be proven to get you through it. In addition to it's the mindset through the breath work and all of those things. So I totally believe in the experience of practicing that and how important it is. Just mindfulness in general.
Yes.
And I am not good at that.
It's a huge difference.
It does. So teachers, I don't know if it's still available, but there's an app called the Calm app. Have you heard of this?
It's kind of like a meditating
app. And it's a subscription. So if it's kind of pricey if you're not paying if it's paid for. I think I want to say $49 or $69 a month. But there's really long meditations to really short meditations for children all the way up to adults, and everything that you could think of: stress, anxiety, maternity, post-maternity. All of the topics are covered. And they recently let it be free for teachers so that you could practice it in their classrooms. Because how important is it to just 5 minutes, we're just going to calm down. They have bedtime story ones that you can listen to with your child, even though we should probably be reading to them, but sometimes you just don't have time for that. So it's like, here, listen to this. I'll be back in 5 minutes. And so I haven't fully experienced the app and everything that it's offered personally, but for the kids, we listen to it. So something to look into. Calm is what it's called.
Yes.
Mind that.
Yes.
So what else? Tell me anything. Tell me anything. If we were just having coffee and we were just getting to know each other, or you wanted to ask me a question.
Well, where are you from here?
I am born and raised. How about you?
Me too.
Yeah, husband too?
Yep.
Wow, my husband too. What school did you go to?
Lansdowne.
Okay, I was Ocean Lakes.
Oh,
Husband was
not far.
Kellam.
My husband's Salem.
Salem. Look at that. I love it. We covered all neck of the woods. That's all. Did you know him in high school?
I did not.
Okay, how'd you guys meet?
Oh Lord.
Uh-oh.
At a
Is there
club.
Story? Yeah, I knew it was coming out. What
At a club. I don't know if you guys remember, but there used to be a club at the oceanfront called Club Exis.
Okay, yeah, I
Did
do.
you go?
Yes, I did. I've been there, done that. You are not alone, sister.
Yes.
That's in our previous days, right?
So it was winter break of my freshman year
Of college. Okay,
Yes,
and you went to
that I
college
met
around here, or?
VCU.
At VCU. Oh, that's right. You said that at the beginning. Okay, really cool. So is he older than you?
2 years older.
Okay, so he was in school at the time or working?
No, he didn't go to school. He
Okay.
went through the apprentice program
Neat.
at used to be north of Grumman, now Huntington Ingalls.
Okay, neat. Is he still there?
Mhm.
Okay, wow. That's a long duration of being in the same place.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Good for him. I think like the evolution of people's stories, especially if you've known each other that long, and like I said, walking through any sort of change in your relationship. Did you guys date a long time before you got married, or?
We dated. Well, we've been together for 13 years.
Yeah.
We've been married for going on 7 at the end of this
Okay,
month.
we're so similar. We were
Yeah.
11, 12 together this year, and we've been married for 7.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
That's
really
interesting.
very interesting. And we did like so much traveling when we were first together, and like we lived it up. So we had a baby pretty soon after we got married. Like we were ready because Coop's 6, so I'm gonna be 7 in June.
Yeah, I think I was 24.
Okay.
When I had my
Yep.
son.
Yep. Really, really cool. Well, I just love learning about people. I think that that's something we don't do enough of. It's so fast when you're at a networking event, or
Yes.
it's like you want this time with people, or you find them on Instagram or social media nowadays. And this is the part, just circling back to like the developing friendships, like you are only as big as what you put yourself out there to be.
I know, yes.
And it is uncomfortable sometimes, and being vulnerable with somebody new, it's like, I don't know if I can even trust them, and here I am shoving a mic in your face. Don't just trust me, trust all the followers and all the listeners.
It's all good.
But at the same time, it's like it's the growing opportunity that then gives you another space to say, oh yeah, she's got my back, even if we don't talk for another month or so. I think that it's really important for us to know within our community that there are people advocating for our success, advocating for our growth, and advocating
Yes.
for the things that you believe in. And
Absolutely.
I totally believe in Home and Heart Center.
Thank you.
You're
Yes.
welcome. I'm excited.
I'm
to see where it
excited
grows.
about that, and this is another thing that I've been trying to push myself to get out there more. And
Yeah.
I think it comes with the spiritual awakening or the
Yeah.
spiritual alignment, and not being able to trust the process. So
Yeah.
then you don't close off any opportunities, or more open to more
Yeah.
opportunities and meeting new people, and
Yeah.
being able to see the red flags and reading people's vibes,
Totally,
and knowing
totally.
that this is not the space for me, or this is not the
Yep.
people for me.
Absolutely.
And then just working around that and not taking it as personally.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yep.
And that's a part of, setting expectations around people, or not having expectations, and like walking into a situation and just being like, this is just an opportunity. We'll see where it goes. And not putting that limitation on your experience, because before, whether we limited ourselves from our own like closed off mindset, or we limited ourselves because we didn't think that we were good enough or worthy enough or whatever it be, qualified enough, like we are enough. And so walking into an experience that is seemingly handed to you, because this is so organic, like there is nothing non-organic, and nobody said go do this,
Nope.
meet this person, do this. We just landed here.
Yep.
And I love that.
And
I
thank
love
you
that
for
part of
inviting
it.
me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm
It
honored.
really is. Yeah, it's been amazing, and I'm so excited for the people who are on the other end to get to listen to you, that you surely exude this like air of like wisdom and truth that I can see it like
Oh,
in
thank
everything
you.
that you
Thank
are.
you.
And I think it's really amazing to be able to then take that passion and that natural tendency into what you do, because it's a gift to be able to do that.
No, thank you.
It
Yes.
is. Yeah, painting in and of itself has that like I call it woosah, which is my centering word. If I'm like, oh, there's a lot going on, I'm like, woosah, just get through it, you'll be okay. Is that painting, when I used to do the belly casting, it was like, you can't really think of anything else. I couldn't anyway. It was, you were right there in the midst of it, and yet free at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's this color experience.
It's hard to explain it, but it's the best feeling.
It is, that flow. That's what that flow is. And so people get it in so many different ways, and that's what I love about meeting new people, is like, what triggers you in a good way.
So interesting.
Yeah, it's so cool. So you're going to be at book club on Thursday.
I am.
We've already plugged Annex once, so we're going to do it again. So book club is hosted the first Thursday of every month?
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday of every month. And they follow along entrepreneurial books or just passion books or bestsellers or whatever it be, right? Have you done nonfiction and fiction?
No.
Okay, it's mainly all nonfiction. Okay. Self-help kind of things. And I usually see what they're doing and then listen to the Audible. I'm an Audible person with well, I say babies. My babies aren't really babies anymore, but I still say that they're toddlers. And just with busy life, it's a great travel experience and opportunity to listen, though I do love holding a book. So I might see you this Thursday.
Okay,
I
hope
really
to see you there.
It'd be awesome to see each other outside of the lights that are being shined on us.
It's the best community there. It honestly is. And it's real and raw, and people are honest, and it's always authentic, genuine people that are all about community over competition.
So good. And I think that what inspired me even more to go was that Megan said, some people don't even read the book. They just come because they know that the topic is good. And I'm like, great, because that would be me. And then
I'm not ashamed.
Okay. And then maybe what they read about, I will then be engaged enough to go get the Audible version and listen. But the one that really stuck out recently, and it's funny as we talked through, and again, there's a specific words. It almost sounds like you are a therapist, even if you haven't even walked through therapy. What you've learned, self-taught, is so good. It's so good. So give yourself credit for everything that you walked through, because you absolutely have what it takes to keep moving forward, but also to shed light for other people. And I love that about you. But that it was called, and excuse my language, this is supposed to be like a wholesome podcast, but it's Unfuck Yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so good. It's such a good book.
It
and
is.
The
It really is.
accent, the Irish accent, got me, because at first I was like, I don't know if I can listen to this guy the whole way through. But sure enough, I went straight through when I was driving with my kiddos. Everyone was asleep and I listened to it. And it was such good wisdom around all of the same things that we're talking about. Just a little bit more like nail on the head. Probably for a man. There's no caressing. There's no raw, soft emotion in that book. But it's to the point. And I'm like, okay,
Sometimes
I value
that
what you're
works
putting
better.
down.
Yes.
Yeah. Some people do need that. So maybe I'm not the right podcast and you should go listen to his book. But in the meantime, thank you so much for listening. It was such a pleasure to have you. And I'm excited to see where all of your passion projects go, how further collaborations can happen, and how our community is really going to benefit from everything that you've walked through.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's a ripple effect.
It definitely is.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yay!
I'm Tamara Andress. I'm your Fit and Faith host, and I am so excited to just be here to share with you other movers, dreamers, shakers, entrepreneurs, pastors, whatever. If you've got a head and you've got a heart, I'm so excited to explore who that is, whose you are, and discover your wholeness, your health, your wealth, and your joy. I love to exude happiness. I want people to know that this is not, this came with trial. You guys, this came with a lot of effort. This came with a lot of lows and so many highs. And I want us to experience those together. This is a real community of dreamers, and I'm excited to help catapult your calling, your kingdom experience, the purpose of your imprint on the world, wherever, however that is. So come along for the ride. I'm excited to chat with you. Like, comment, review, send me a DM, send me an email. It's me responding, even though I have an incredible team. And so I'm just excited to get to know you. Let's connect, let's create community, and let's walk in our calling.